Success occurs when preparation meets opportunity. And many times in life you don't know when the opportunity is going to present itself. But if you're always preparing for when the opportunity occurs, then you'd be ready to take advantage. Seize the moment, as they say. And at the moment I'm watching the Olympics in Tokyo. And what an incredible event. I am just loving watching the Olympics. And one of the things that I notice is that the amount of Olympic and world records that are being broken. So these sports people are breaking records left, right and centre. Australia and New Zealand have won more medals than any other Olympics, which is quite amazing. And what that says to me is these Olympians have been preparing. When this time came for the Olympics, they're ready to seize the moment, to be their best, to maximise their chances of winning the Olympic medal. But what is unique about these Olympics as compared to other Olympics is that you know exactly when the Olympics is going to be. Every 4 years, this month, this date, this time is when I'm going to be competing. So it's easy to plan for that and prepare for that. But this Olympics is unique because it's already a year overdue and there's a lot of uncertainty whether it's going to even go ahead because of what's going on in the world at the moment. So in that phase of uncertainty and no guarantees going ahead, these athletes had to keep training and keep preparing even though they weren't guaranteed that the Olympics was going to go ahead. There was lots of pressure to cancel the Olympics, postpone the Olympics. So they didn't know whether it's going to be postponed for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years or just cancelled altogether. However, they had to keep training and they definitely did because otherwise they wouldn't be breaking world records and Olympic records left, right and centre. So a great lesson is even though they had no guarantee that the Olympics was going to run, they had faith that all that training would come to fruition eventually and the opportunity would be presented to them when it did actually come. And many of them naturally were at their peak condition to be in a position physically and mentally to break all of these records and win the medals. And what a great lesson to take in your journey in your life. Always be in the phase of preparation for the next opportunity that may come down your path, whether that be a career opportunity, a business opportunity, a sporting opportunity, whatever the opportunity. If you're always preparing, when that opportunity comes, you can say, yes, I will do that because I'm prepared for that, rather than, well, I can't because I'm not ready yet. And that's one of the lessons I learned when I was young as a gym instructor working in gyms, and I was the gym instructor where I wrote programs and took people through the gym. But different situations occurred and opportunities came for me to further develop myself professionally. First of all, I was asked whether I wanted to do a course in group exercise. We used to call it aerobics back in those days, and I had no interest in group exercise or aerobics. However, I thought to myself, if I learn this skill, then that may become useful for myself down the track if I'm going to spend the rest of my life as an exercise professional, having group exercise skills, teaching groups of people in music and movement, then that could be a valuable skill for me to have, even though it wasn't, no opportunities were on my radar for that skill. I did the course anyway. Then I started teaching and I developed that skill and ended up teaching for many, many years. And that skill has come in handy many times in my career. You know, whether I'll be doing a corporate presentation, they ask me, hey, can you do a group exercise class, or can you take this group to do some exercise here, or whether it be, and I said, yes, I can do that, because I knew I had the skill to do it. And those skills also developed in choreographing, bodybuilding routines and getting paid. So that skill was very useful for me many, many decades after I developed it, even though when I developed it, I didn't have any guarantee or any certainty that it would be useful. I was put in a time when I could have taken an aqua aerobic class, teaching water aerobics or water exercise. And I said yes, so I developed that skill, and now that was another notch on my belt. And what I did decide to do is that if I could learn everything, then I'd become very valuable in my career. So when I was working in the gym, I could do sales presentation, I could work the front office, I could teach group exercise, I could do gym instructing, I could do fitness testing, I could do power walks, I could do aqua aerobics. So my thought pattern was, if the gym gets into trouble and they have to make people redundant and start firing staff, I'd be the last one standing, because you wouldn't get rid of the person who can do everything. Because even though my specialty was strength training and gym instruction, I was a generalist, means I could do lots of other things. So I took that lesson and started saying yes to everything and continually developing my skills, developing my qualifications and my courses and my knowledge that has served me well throughout my 39 years now as an exercise professional. And that's what I encourage you to do, is to never stop learning, never stop developing, because if you keep developing those skills, you keep doing extra courses, then that's going to serve you well. I was talking to a gentleman today who's a Mac student, and his ultimate goal is to become a physiotherapist. But his mindset, great mindset, is that if I learn the skill of becoming a personal trainer and exercise professional, then that's going to make me more valuable as a physiotherapist. And as I share with him, it says, if you're applying for a job as a physiotherapist, and I have all these resumes, and all the other resumes have physiotherapy degree to physiotherapy, and then one of the resumes has physiotherapy degree and a qualified exercise professional, then straight away you go to the top of the pile. So my suggestion is, do the things that you need to do to always get your resume on the top of the pile, or put you in the front of the line of opportunity. A lot of our graduates do the business diploma, and again, as I share with them, I believe business skills is vital in a personal training or fitness or exercise professional career. Because what I do know, being in this profession for many decades now, is that the people who understand business become the most successful in fitness, whether they're running a business or working in someone else's business, because they're going to be the most valuable person in that business, because they understand how the business works and can differentiate what's important and what's less important. However, if you're just applying for a job, for example, and there's 20 personal trainers, and they all have the personal training qualifications, so everything's equal, but in your resume you have a business diploma, then straight away that stands out. That makes you unique. That's unique in a valuable way. You would go straight away to the top of the pile. They'll be the first person that they would look at, or who I would look at. I've employed thousands and thousands of people through my businesses over my journey. So straight away, you may not guarantee the position, but if everything else is equal, then that would put you in the front of the line of the opportunity. So if you can continually through your career, personally and professionally develop yourself, not just in knowledge, but be able to crystallize them into qualifications, certificates, which we call proof of knowledge, proof of skill, whether it be winning titles or getting certificates or achievement awards or whatever it might be, then those things are going to provide proof to give you the opportunity through all that preparation that will lead you to success. I'm as you know, a martial artist, and one of in the UFC is quite a popular mixed martial art organisation, and there's lots of UFC champions. And one of the guys I used to follow when I was younger, because he had a bit of a crazy personality, is an English guy called Michael Bisping. Now he is a really good fighter, and he's fought for many, many years, but he's never actually had won at that stage a UFC championship. He's never had the belt. And I always remember that he got a phone call, and the phone call was from the UFC, and they said, hey, there's this title fight coming up in 2 weeks' time, and the two fighters, one of them has had to pull out because they got injured. So therefore we've already promoted this fight with this guy who's a great fighter, and we need to fill that spot. Do you want to take it? And he said yes. So he only had 2 weeks to get ready for a world championship UFC fight. Now 2 weeks is not enough time to go from being unfit to fit. But to his credit, even though he didn't have any title fights in the radar, he was always training. He's always training. He's always on top of his game. He's always training as if he has a title fight coming up. And because he was completely prepared, and even at that time he wasn't prepared for a title fight or a championship, it just came up. And he said yes. So he had 2 weeks just to put all that preparation and fine tune it for that 2-week title fight. And to his fortune, he won. He knocked the guy out, and now he is a UFC champion of the world. And no one can take that title away from him. No one can take that achievement away from him. He is now a UFC world champion. How did that happen? Well, it happened when preparation met opportunity, and the opportunity presented itself when he did not even expect it. Because he was always prepared, he could say yes to it, and he was in the front of the line because a lot of other fighters in his weight division were out of shape and not on the top of the game. So when they say, hey, do you want to take this fight? They said, oh, geez, I can't even make weight because I'm probably about 10 kilos overweight. I'm not ready. I'm not in great condition. I'm not prepared. But if you're always prepared, then the opportunity, when it does present itself, you can say yes, and you'll be in front of the line because the prepared person will be in the front, ready to take advantage of the opportunity. So developing skills, and one of the wealthiest people in the world over the history of time has been a gentleman by the name of Warren Buffett. Now, if you don't know who Warren Buffett is he has an investment company, Berkshire Hathaway, and his wealth has always been, he's always been in the top 1, 2, 3 wealthiest people in the world. Used to be between him and Bill Gates, where who's number one, Bill Gates, and he's a little bit down the list now because other organisations have gone up. But he's worth at least 50 billion plus. He's probably worth about 80 billion now. I'm not quite sure. I don't follow his numbers, but he's always up there. And he was being interviewed by a student from Africa, of all places. And the student asked, he said, so what do you do when you live in a country where the value of money and inflation is going up, the value of money is coming down, and what do you do? And he beautifully said, well, it doesn't really matter what the value of money is. It doesn't really matter what is happening to inflation. What most matters is the value of the skills that you're developing. Because if you can develop your skills, once you develop a skill, you have that forever. Like now, if someone calls me up and say, hey, can you do a group exercise class? I could say, yes, even though it's been decades since I've taught a group exercise class, because I have that skill forever. Someone says, can you do an acro class? Yes. Can you do a sales presentation? Yes. And there's lots of things I can say yes to because I've developed those skills. So Warren Buffett confirmed that by saying, develop your skills, because ultimately when everything else is worth nothing, a skill is always worth something. And if you have a skill and it's add value in the marketplace, then someone's always going to pay for it, whether it be a skill of being a carpenter, a skill of being an electrician, a skill of being an exercise professional or personal trainer. A skill of any skill is going to be valuable because it will serve the marketplace. So if you keep upskilling yourself, then you got more opportunities to say yes to. Even though that may not be your lane or your specialization, but you can always say yes to things that are parallel to it or connected to it or associated with it, and that may open another door, that opens up 2 doors, opens up 4 doors, opens up 8 doors. So what I'm saying is a lot of time people, what they do is they'll develop a qualification and that's the end of it. They say, that's it, I've got my certificate. A lot of people's education stops when they get their high school certificate and that's the end of their learning. But the successful people in their fields are the ones who are always developing their skill, developing their knowledge, because they want to keep growing with a market that will continue to present greater opportunities, whether that opportunities in learning how to train people online or train people in parks, in groups, in specialised fields, whether it be rehabilitation, or whether it be with medical conditions, or whether it's for elite athletes, or whether it be for children, or whether for the elderly. If you can continually develop all those skills, even though you would have your preferred specialisation, but keep developing everything else, and if you do have a preferred lane or preferred specialisation, make sure you keep developing that, so you'll be always on top of your game. Therefore, you'll always be in the front of the line for the next opportunity that the marketplace will present to you. But many times you don't know when the marketplace is going to present you with the opportunity. A lot of people will say, I'll get ready when the opportunity comes, but by the time you get ready, the opportunity's already gone to someone else because you weren't ready. So always be in the ready position by always be in the process of preparation, learning, upskilling, doing stuff, and getting out there, and then you find that you will always be ahead of your game and follow the Kman principle, continue and never-ending improvement. See you in the next Kmax.